So here we are again, and we are going to be talking about pigments, one of my favorite makeup items. And what do you do with these things? Pigments come in all sorts of different colors. If you don't know what a pigment is, it is basically just a loose eyeshadow that's concentrated in color. And I'll just show you, I have all my pigments here. They're organized by color in this little tray here. And I just thought I would share with you guys some of the different things you can do with pigments, because some people may not realize how versatile pigments are and the different things that you can do with them. And a lot of people don't like working with pigments because they are messy and they can leave a lot of fallout on your face, and sometimes they're hard to work with, especially when you're using them as eyeshadow. So I figured I would share some tips with you guys, as well as show you the different things that I use pigments for. So the first is eyeshadow. Typically, if I'm going to use a pigment as an eyeshadow, I can do one of two things with it. The first is I can use MAC Fix Plus, which everybody knows about Fix Plus. It's not a new product. Or you can use water. I feel like they do exactly the same thing. And I just use a short brush like this. This is the MAC 239. And basically you spray your brush, you get it wet, and then you take your pigment and you dip it in the pigment and then tap it off, and then you pat it on your eyelid, and it definitely helps prevent fallout. And I've found that this technique actually works really well. Just as a tip though, you don't want to like brush it across your eyelid, you just want to dab. Another thing you can use when using pigments as eyeshadows is use a mixing medium. And here I have the MAC water-based mixing medium. And this is a pro item. You have to get it at a pro store. Or you can call and get it as well. But again, if you don't want to use the mixing medium, you can always use water. Or there's a lot of videos on YouTube about how to make your own mixing medium, but I'm not that skilled, so I prefer to just buy it. And what I do is I usually use the cap to the little containers that I'm using, because it's just going to go back on top anyway. But I take a little bit of the pigment and I put it in the cap, and then I take a couple drops of the mixing medium, which I've already done. And then I just take my brush and I swirl around and I mix it until it makes like, it's not a paste, but just it's easier to pick up on your brush. And I swirl it around until it's on my brush, like this. And then you can, the same effect on your eyelids. You can just sweep it across your eyelids. And virtually, I'm doing it on my hand, but it's probably going to be hard to tell, but there is absolutely no fallout. So this is definitely a great way. And a lot of people call this foiling, foiling your eyeshadow, applying it wet. And it does add a nice sheen to it. And a lot of pigments do look a little bit different applied wet and applied dry. So it's kind of fun to play around and, see, what kind of looks you can get by doing it either way. And if you're just wondering, this really pretty color is a coral with gold glitter in it. I don't have to be able to tell about the glitter, but it's electric coral pigment from MAC. I think it's from MAC. Anyway, so that's using pigments as eyeshadow. Another use for pigments is to use them as highlighters. And probably one of the most common known pigments to use as a highlighter is MAC's Vanilla Pigment. And basically you just do the same thing like you were doing with an eyeshadow. This is actually really full, and it's always good. I always generally take the pigment off of the cap before I dip it into the pigment to the concentrate, so it's not so concentrated. And generally whatever's on the cap is enough for what I'm using it for. And so, yes, this is a really pretty highlighter. And I just use a brush like the MAC 109, and I just swirl it in and tap off the excess. It just looks like that. And then I basically, I have my glasses on, so it's not gonna, I guess I can take them off. And then I can just sweep it, you know, where I want it to go. And I don't do this wet, I generally do this dry, and I don't typically ever have a problem with the fallout because you can blend it in. And it just is a nice, I don't know if I can swatch it on my hand for you to be able to see it, but if you're looking for a really nice highlighter, I definitely suggest Vanilla Pigment. It's, you can't really see it, but it has like a nice golden pinkish duochrome almost to it under certain light, and it's really, really pretty. And it's definitely appropriate to use as a highlighter or in the inner corners, but yeah. So that is the second thing I use pigments for. And the last thing that I use pigments for is nail polish. It's really fun to use pigments as nail polish because you can typically pick a pigment that you wouldn't normally buy the nail polish color of and, you know, have that color nail polish. So I'll just show you guys. I will be using grape pigment, and it's just a deep purple color. And I typically, if I'm going to do this, don't just use a clear, regular clear nail polish, only because I have really short nails that I'm trying to grow, and I like to just protect my nails. So I basically use just like a fortified nail nail polish, but you can certainly use clear. This one it looks blue in the bottle, but really it's basically clear, and this is just the Sally Hansen Nail Protects. And basically all you do is you take your nail polish brush, and I dip it into the pigment, and I get it on the brush, and then just give me 1 second here. And then I just take it and I brush it onto my nail. And just give me 1 second while I do that. And I'm like super bad with nail polish, so don't mind the fact that it's on my finger. But then basically you just have a purple nail polish. And you can certainly do it different ways. If you wanted to take like a little piece of cardboard and pour the nail polish in the pigment and mix it in, you certainly could do that. But I personally don't do that because I don't like to waste any. So yeah, so that is just my quick little video on pigments and the different things that you can use them for. I definitely recommend, picking up a couple of colors that you like and just trying out the different things. You certainly wouldn't want to use maybe pinks and blues as highlighter colors, but you could certainly use them as nail polish and obviously eyeshadow. So either way, I hope this video helped. I hope it was interesting. And I certainly look forward to seeing you all in my next video. Alright guys, bye.